Alright, welcome back, guys. Here is the Glory to Phyrexia All-is-One draft booster, as you can tell. Still sealed. Let's see what we get out of here. We want to be very careful with this, of course, because I kind of like to keep all my boxes stashed in my room. You never know if you need some things around your house, around your pad to make it look cool. And once again, kind of just to go over, if there are cards out here that you see that I don't want to keep, it is all up for sale in my eBay accounts. Alright, here we go. I'm really hoping to get Elish Norn. That's probably going to be my top pick here for me. So we're just going to put a few of these aside. Now we start off with a very great photo here of Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. Hopefully we get her. It'll be pretty dope to have. Alright. So we're going to start off with a few packs here. Also, in the comment section or anything like that, let me know if there's any cards that you are specifically looking for, or what your favorite cards are. Yeah, throw it in the description. Alright, pack one, here we go. Now this is, of course, being my first video, so not going to be the greatest at it. But I think we're all here for one thing, and that's going to be pretty much the cards. So we start off with poison counters. I really like the planes. Planes look absolutely fantastic. Look at that. That is great. Alright, so we start off Blue Sun's Twilight. Not bad. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like the greatest start here. We start off with the Blue Sun's Twilight. Getting control of target creature with mana value X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of that creature. I can see that being kind of useful down the road. But for right now, not what I'm particularly looking for, mythic-wise or rare, uncommon, or something in between. Alright, we start off with another counter. Ooh, that forest. The forest looks amazing. It's really great. Ooh, land. New land type Sphere. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if mythics enter the battlefield this turn. Or 3 and tap to create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexia Might artifact with Toxic 1. And this creature cannot block. So there's a new thing called Toxic 1, which is going to be basically like poison counters, and that's going to be its forte now. I'm guessing that's going to be the new card type and win condition that we're going to start seeing nowadays. Alright, let's see. Ooh, Tavar, but this is Tavar's Stand, also not bad. We've got the Fair Basilica, new land sphere as well. Enters tapped, add for white. Sacrifice Basilica to draw a card. Not bad, not bad. And another land. This is probably one of the things I see a lot is Terramorphic Expanse. I have a billion of these cards. It's literally just going to be a binder worth of all different Terramorphic Expanses throughout the years as they keep changing. We got Sawblade Scamp as a kind of cool looking art there. Nothing jumping out quite yet at me. I really want to get those the Ichor-Moon gauntlets, because what I'm hearing is just gonna make most decks comparable to, you know, one-turn kills, or not even one-turn kills, but just janky combinations in general. Alright, we got a Phyrexian Swamp. Now that looks fantastic. I don't know about you, but I love the Phyrexian language. I don't know. I think that one's going to go to a binder rather than actual deck. Alright, so we've got our first holographic with Bladed Ambassador. Very nice. We've got the Phyrexian Obliterator, mythic rare. Now that thing is just nasty. I've fought a lot of those before online at the Magic Arena, and I cannot seem to get away from those guys. Ooh, Phyrexian Atlas, that's a good one there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put this in one of our sleeves that we have here today, which is a Jace with his mirror image. Love it. Alright, so we've got Phyrexian Obliterator, which is a 5/5 trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents for 4 black mana. So that means if it takes 3 damage, whether it's attacking, blocking, or someone's going to use any kind of like shock or removal spell of some sort, your opponent that dealt that damage has to sacrifice that many before the card can go away. So I would say you see this on the field or you see it about to be played, counter it as soon as you can, or you're going to have to find a way to exile that puppy or stifle its abilities somehow with like even pacify, something like that, to just get it off the field or make sure that it's not dealing too much damage to you. Unless you can sacrifice a lot of permanents. But for me, I don't want that. Alright, next pack we have a cat token. That looks pretty sweet. Wonder if there's a card out there that makes it spawn some vicious lycanthrope looking creatures. And we have an island. These are the new islands. That looks pretty sweet. Still like all of them. Alright, we've got a foil Minor Misstep. Counter targets both mana value 1 or less for 1 blue. Not bad at all. I'm going to put that into a foil pile over here. We've got Phyrexian Golem. Ooh. This Soulless Jailer here, it is nasty. Basically, it stops you from pulling things from the graveyard and playing them. There are some decks that I still use that pull from the graveyard constantly and play them. With Soulless Jailer, it stops you for 2 mana, 0/4. Players cannot cast non-creature spells from the graveyard or exile pile. Permanent cards in graveyards also cannot enter the battlefield. That is a good graveyard shutdown card. Just saying, don't overlook that one. Can't say this pack is jumping out at me here. The other thing is I see there's a lot of Proliferate coming back, so I see a lot of counters coming back from majority of these, whether it's, you know, poison counters, minus counters, immortal counters of some sort, like indestructibility. I'm seeing there's going to be a lot of broken Proliferate decks I think are going to start popping up on Magic Arena online as well as paper. Alright, so we've got a nice mountain here, and that should be the last of the lands that are new. Pretty nice. Alright, we got another holographic Chimney Rabble. And boom goes the dynamite. We have pulled Atraxa Grand Unifier. She is one of the ones I am looking for. Fantastic. Immediately we're going to throw her right into this here Jace card sleeve. But I'm also going to put her in one of these nice magnetic sealable, because I don't want to damage her. I've always looked for an Atraxa, wanted one. I just didn't want to pay ridiculous amounts of money, which I see most people don't want to pay that kind of money. So now Atraxa's put away safely for another day. Very nice pull. Alright, we still got the rest of this to go through. A new sphere called the Surgical Bay. It looks like a lot of the spheres are going to be for sacrificial, for 1 card draw. And this one's like Vivisurgeon's Insight. I may be saying that wrong, but it's a 4 5 cost, 3 draw card plus proliferate. I'm going to see a lot of those proliferates popping up here and there. Can't say I'm super excited for proliferating poison counters. Going to start showing up in Arena. Not too happy, but I may be able to work with that too, because I guess elves can work with that. You know, if you proliferate an elf +1/+1 counter, for every counter you have, you get X mana, whatever the case may be. We'll see. I'm really excited to see all the planeswalkers though that have all their proliferate abilities on top of it. Alright, new Phyrexian Horror and another Phyrexian Swamp. I think it looks sweet. Encroaching Mycosynth. Non-land permanents you control are artifacts in addition to their other types. The same is true for non-permanents you control and non-land permanents you own that are not in the battlefield. Kind of reminds me of the, what is it, Mycosynth Lattice, something like that. Not a bad card. Okay. Create creature gets +2/0, creates tokens. Okay. Another sphere, now that's all of them. Helms, flying. I guess a new ability is also corrupted. So now, if you have 3 or more poison counters, it does extra things. Like for instance, this Anointed with the Affliction is you exile a target creature if it has mana 3 or less. But corrupted is just ignore the value if you have poison counters. So you can just exile a creature for 2 costs if that person has 3 or more poison counters on them, which does not bode well for those, unless of course you play any older formats. You can do negate counters, and that would kind of stop everybody in this genre very quick. We got a Phyrexian Might creature token with Toxic. That looks pretty cool. And we now have the Phyrexian Forest. Pretty sweet. And Moran Safe House. Wow. The Moran Safe House is, as long as it's on the battlefield, all activated abilities of all land cards in the graveyard goes to this card. That's actually not too bad at all. Another Affinity for Artifacts. That looks like it's going to make a comeback. Ooh, that Titanic Growth looks absolutely amazing. That's the new Titanic Growth. A little bit of a Phyrexian twist on it. Pretty sweet looking. Leonins are making a comeback with Ward. Okay. Nothing too great. I mean, the Marin Safe House is pretty sweet. I can say that's probably not a bad card to do, especially like if you have a I don't know. Let's say you have one of those sacrificial spheres on the battlefield, and you're about to lose your artifact anyway. You can sacrifice the Safe House to basically borrow its effect, sacrifice it, and then draw a card off of it. So, not bad. Now that is an interesting looking swamp. That one looks quite frightening. Definitely, I think, binder worth, in my opinion. That's terrifying. Alright, we've got a holographic Hazardous Blast. And my god, y'all, there is another Elish. That is what we're looking for. Elish Norn, Mother of the Machines, Mythic Rare. Here we go, guys. with a Phyrexian stamp on it, going straight into the J sleeves. And I feel like she definitely can go into one of the magnetic boxes here, because we don't want her to become damaged at all. Safekeeping number 2. Now, Elish Norn, you probably already know, but basically it's a nope card. Any effect that hits the field on your side of the field doubles. Any effect that hits on your field from an ETB does not trigger at all on your opponent's side of the field. So double for you, none for your opponents. That is a nasty combination. Oof, Toxic 6. So it looks like Toxic can be numbers that increase, kind of like Annihilator. So there was Annihilator 1 through, God, I don't know, I think there was like a 7 or 8 from the Eldrazi's back in the day. So now Toxic can increase. So it looks like there's another one called For Meriden, and that is where you get these equipment creatures that are 2/2 rebels, which is kind of cool, and then it attaches to it. Death Touch with Toxic. That is a nasty combination there. So if you don't block it, you gain a counter. If you do block it, that creature dies instantly. So it's however you see you want to take that hit. Alright, well, so far, a few packs in, we've got 2 of what we want. We have Elish Norn, Atraxa, and an unknown one, which is the Phyrexian Obliterator. I did not see that one coming. I do love the Phyrexian Obliterator. I'll take a look. Maybe I want him for later. I don't know for now, but we'll see as time goes on. Very nice island. We have a holographic Urabrask's Forge. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on the forge, then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on the forge. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. So basically, the beginning of combat on your turn, so pre-combat, you put 1 counter, oil counter on it, then you create an X1 horror token with haste and trample. So for every turn, it becomes a 1 stronger, but still keeps the same toughness. So it'd be on the first turn a 1/1, second turn 2/1, 3/1, 4/1, and you must sacrifice it at the end of each turn. So it's just good fodder if you can find a way to put Death Touch on it, or you know, anything that would give you like lifelink or something like that. It's a quick hit and run kind of idea. Holy smokes, we now have a legendary Planeswalker Kaya alt art. That looks amazing. Look at Kaya right there. Oh my god, we're going to put her right into the J-Sleeve. Now, Kaya starts off with a passive hexproof ability, which is pretty cool for a Planeswalker, so she's already hard to get rid of. Her +2 is each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3. Not bad in Commander. Her 0 is draw 2, then each opponent may scry 1. So I like the draw 2. Not sure if I like the scry to my opponents. -3 is exile target creature or an enchantment. If it was not an aura, create a token that's a copy of it, except for it's a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying addition to its other types. So that Phyrexian Obliterator, if you can't get rid of it, Kaya will exile it, then make it a 1/1 Phyrexian Horror Spirit flying creature with trample, and Phyrexian Obliterator's passive skill on top of it. So that's one way to do it, and to get rid of your opponent, to add it to your side. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty, let's see if we can get any of the other cards we are looking for. I really want that Gauntlet. With that Gauntlet, we could definitely cause a lot of issues. And we have an alt art, Quicksilver Fisher. That looks just kind of cool there. You know, draw one card, discard. Not too bad. 4/3 flying, but nothing I would say is super important, which is all good. So far, 3 cards that are fantastic. One, didn't see it coming, love it. I always forget about the Planeswalkers, if I'm going to get one or not. There is a Planeswalker, which is Nissa, and I'm not 100% sure what her name was in this series, but she's going to be absolutely pinnacle for any kind of poison counter type decks, and given the ability to passive proliferate. That's going to be nasty if you face her. Alright, Phyrexian Mountain. That looks absolutely amazing. Once again, I think it's just going to be definitely going to be for the binder. Alright, so we've got Carumonix, the Rat King. Toxic. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. When he enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of the library in any random order. For 3, it's a 3/3. Not bad. Definitely, if you put it in a rat deck, you can get absolutely crazy with it, because there are rats out there that do not have a limit to how many you can put in a deck. And just imagine all of them having Toxic. So not only do you have to worry about 1/1s attacking you, which not many people do, but they all have the ability to give you counters of poison. So 10 of them alone will take you out. That may come in handy down the road if I ever decide to make a rat token deck. Alright, next pack we've got Rebel token with that scary spider looking swamp. Once again, kind of cool looking. Oh my goodness, this is a mythic rare I did not know was in here. This is the Staff of Completion. This is kind of like the Staff of Dominaria back in the Dominaria series. Mythic rare. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abilities for Staff of Completion here. I don't know if you can see with that glare there, but it has 4 tap but life loss abilities. So tap, pay 1, destroy target permanent ion. Tap, pay 2 life, add a mana of any color, 1 of it. Pay 3 and tap, proliferate. Pay 4 life, draw a card, and then 5 mana to untap. So it's literally like the Staff of Domination. Or is it Domination or Dominaria? One of those two. But you can tap to pay for life, and if you have an infinite life cycle deck, this thing is just going to go off, where you can just draw, proliferate, add mana, destroy target permanents that you need to get rid of on your side, in case somebody does the old switcheroo. Like I think there's a card called 9 Lives. It's an enchantment that after you lose that 9th counter, you lose the game. With Staff of Completion, you could, I think, get rid of it without the negative repercussion of losing. So that may actually come in handy down the road. Not bad at all. Good so far. I'm actually pretty excited for the box right now. It's doing actually fairly well. I like these alt arts. Looks kind of gruesome, pretty cool looking, if I do say so myself. Sinew Driver here looks pretty sweet. 1/1 for 1, tap 4 in it, tap target creature. So you can literally keep people from attacking or activating abilities very quickly. Now it does have a corrupted ability. Is instead of 4 in tap, it's only 1 white and tap to tap a target creature if that person has 3 or more poison counters. So you can literally only pay 1/4 of the amount in order to activate his ability, as long as corrupted is active. Next pack, we have Poison Counter. Very cool looking mountains. I do like that one. Green Sun's Twilight. So this reminded me of like the Sun Zenith. So like we have Black Sun Zenith, Green Sun Zenith. Now we're in Green Sun Twilight. I think there was a red one that we passed by. Reveal the top X plus 1 cards of your library. Choose a creature card and or a land card from among them. Put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. If X is 5 or more, instead, put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. 1 green and X. That is actually a really sweet card. It's not like the Sun. It's not like the Zenith where like you pay it and then it goes back into your deck and you just shuffle over and over. But still, that is a good way to get those cards to your hand, to the field, however you need to change the battle into your favor. So far, I don't see any of the other cards that we were looking for. We did get Atraxa, and we did get Elish Norn, which are the 2 ones that I really wanted, with a bonus of a Planeswalker and the Phyrexian Obliterator. However, we're still looking for Venerated Rot Priest, Drivnod Carnage Dominus at the borderless one, Ichor Gauntlet, we want that one, Tavar Jubilant Brawler, any of the dual lands, Sword of Forge and Frontier, all will be 1, and was it Mondrak Glory Dominus? Those are the ones that we're looking to keep to find. And I think we only found 2 of them so far, but we still have a good chunk of packs to go through. Luck gods be with us. And then once again, I will put any of these cards that I don't want up on my eBay account. If you want to buy, just let me know. We have a Phyrexian Might counter token. Mountain Phyrexian land, beautiful. Skrelv's Hive. I heard there's a good card with Skrelv in it. I don't remember his name, besides obviously Skrelv. Let's see, Skrelv's Hive is at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life, and then you can create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature with Toxic 1 and cannot block. If you have Corrupted, though, those creatures will have Toxic, that have the Toxic will have Lifelink as well. So you can create a very nasty combination with this enchantment, and this is not a legendary enchantment, so 4 of these puppies here could definitely change the outcome of battle. Vivisection Evangelist. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly, but that is a mouthful there. And there's the original Sinew Dancer, so it looks a lot different, which I do like the alt art. For the longest time, I've always wanted to collect alt arts and see if maybe they had any value behind them, or it made you look a little bit cooler. And you say, oh well, you have the original version, but do you have the alt art version? In my opinion, they look cooler, but I digress. Alright, we got a Rebel creature token. That spider swamp thing again. Gross. Okay, another legendary creature. Melora, the Living Cure. 1 green, 1 white. 3/3. If you would get 1 or more poison counters instead, you get 1 poison counter, and you cannot gain additional poison counters this turn. So that means you can only get 1 poison counter a turn. That's pretty sweet, right off the bat. If you exile Mera, the Living Cure, choose another target creature or an artifact. When it's put into the graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So passive skill is you cannot get more than 1 poison counter per turn, period. Sweet. Now, of course, if they're doing it on their turn and your turn, you're kind of screwed, but you can't get more than 1. So that Rat King that we had before, that would, for each 1 rat that had that counter on it, could only give you 1 poison. You just take the rest of the damage. Not bad. Not bad at all. Tamio's Logbook. tap for 6, 5 regular, 1 or 5 any, 1 blue, draw a card, activate this ability for 1 less for each artifact you control. So theoretically you could literally play one blue and tap it to draw a card. Not too bad. Now here's a nasty card here, called Necrosquito. It is flying 0/0 for 4. Necrosquito enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. It gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on Necrosquito. Meaning that there are artifacts out there that you sacrifice just to draw cards or give you temporary mana or temporary scry power. Necrosquito is going to get +1/+1s for just that passive skill. So that is pretty sweet. Hey, there's that new Thrill of Possibility. I used that card in Arena for draw effect, so it's kind of cool to see it look a little bit different this time around. I always thought maybe I should make a binder of all cards that have reprints of down the road. The only downside is that I don't have enough binders for that, nor do I have enough room to have that many binders that we need. Alright, we've got a Rebel token. Island. Bloated Contaminator. 3 cost, 4/4 with Toxic and Trample. Whenever Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. Telling you, this proliferate thing, it's making its comeback. So not only can you use Staff of Completion, but you can use Bloated Contaminator and multitudes of other different cards in this set here to help boost that proliferate. If you want to play in an old series, you could even get crazy with it and do nothing but a proliferation type deck. Nasty combination. Infectious Bite. Target creature you control deals damage to its power to another target creature you don't control. Kind of like fighting or goading a creature into fighting you. Then each opponent gets a poison counter. It's kind of a kick you while you're down. Kind of funny thing there. Nice little alt art there. Offer Immortality. Creature gains Death Touch and indestructible for the turn. We're still not finding those other cards. We're finding other good things, but not the ones we're looking for quite yet. If you hear my dog in the background, I do apologize. I cannot get her to stop barking, but she's a good guard dog. She does what she needs to do. Alright, Rebel. Now we've got the Phyrexian planes. Once again, that looks pretty sweet. I like it. And just as we were going to say, we weren't going to find any of the dual lands, we now have the Copperline Gorge. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands for green or red. I know that's going to be a very useful card. Toxic 2. It's against all odds. It's not the one we want. All will be 1. Hey, another sphere. There's that green land. Then there's the Blight Belly Rat. So, like I was saying, is that rat ability gain toxic, but when it dies, it proliferates. So you can keep getting those counters. Now, I'm not sure. I would have to look it up, but if Toxic 1... I think I already answered my question. Toxic 1 is just a passive ability. It's not a counter ability. Proliferate will not affect that. But that'd be kind of cool if it did. Alright, we have an alt art Rustvine Cultivator. 1 green, 1/2 Phyrexian Elf Druid. Tap to put an oil counter on Rustvine Cultivator, or tap it to remove it to untap a target land. So it's kind of like a lot of those druid elves that tap for mana, but you need to have an oil counter on it. So if there's a way to move those oil counters, or a card out here that will passively give oil counters per turn, or tap card to create oil counters on target creature, you can cut Rustvine Cultivator in half that time to wait for its effect to go off. Phyrexian Beast, creature token. Nice little new forest here. That looks pretty sweet. I really like the art on this one. Kind of gives you the idea that the Phyrexian are taking over. The Filigree Silex, legendary artifact. Put an oil counter on Filigree Silex. Tap, sacrifice the Silex, destroy each non-land permanent with a value equal to the number of oil counters on Filigree Silex. Or remove 10 counters from among the permanents you control and sacrifice it, deals 10 damage to any target. That's kind of like, oh lord, what's his name? I'll remember his name in just a moment. Not the right Rot Priest. We got the Necrogen Rot Priest. We're looking for the Venerated one. Not bad though. Let's see. Another Titanic Growth. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. Who is it? It is. Who am I kidding? I literally have a phone next to me to look it up. Is it? Now I remember. A Nicol Bolas is a Citadel. The Citadel itself is you pay life in order to play the card on the top of your deck. So you cannot cast it for mana if it's on top of your deck, but you pay life instead. But you sacrifice 10 permanents and you can deal 10 damage to the target. So the Filigree Silex is basically that, but with oil counters. So if you can find cards with oil counters, so like the Rustvine Cultivator can put oil counters on it. Now it does not state that that card needs a max of 1. It just says if you tap it, you can choose either to stack an oil counter or remove an oil counter. So you could literally do that Filigree Silex with the Rustvine Cultivator and just, you know, tap 10 times to get him to stack 10 counters on him, and then Filigree Silex just rushes in with minus 10. Not a bad idea. You'd have to, or you can use Proliferate. You just put 1 counter on it, proliferate constantly, done. Alright, we got Phyrexian Plains. There's that Rat King again. It is legendary, so you can only play 1. Evolving adaptive oil counters again. A natural restoration. Bring a permanent from your graveyard back to your hand and then proliferate. So, not bad. Ooh, here's the first counter I've seen in a while. Bring the Ending. Counter target spell unless the controller pays 2. Corrupted is just counter it instead if there are 3 or more poison counters on that player. Not bad. In my opinion, I'm not a fan of any kind of counter cards. Not my favorite. It just makes you stop playing the game, and I want people to play. It's fun. So, if you're one of those types of people that play counter cards, just stop. Stop it. But no, the game's meant to be played how you want to play. If you want to play counter, that's fine. But that just means the rest of us have to work harder to build a non-counterable deck, or find ways around it. Alright, so we got Mountain. We have a holographic Offer Immortality, which creature gains Death Touch and indestructible for the turn. Common, not bad. Now look at that. Darkslick Shores with Borderless. That is a fantastic land there. We are going to put that in a J-Slave. It may not be mythic or anything like that, but I know it's a good card. Blade Horde War Whip. That looks interesting. Equip abilities you activate for other equipment cost 1 less to activate. Equipped creature does have double strike. So when you play it has 4 Mirrodin, so it's going to create a 2/2 Rebel. So 2/2 Rebel. Autos equips it, and it gives it double strike. Not too bad. Not going to say I'm going to go crazy with it, but I'm sure we could build one. There's another sphere. I'm wondering if the sphere is going to have something to play in this. Ooh, haste with toxic 3. That's nasty. That's a dinosaur. Yeah, I wonder if equipments are going to have anything to do with it, like what do they call it? Like Tron decks kind of idea. Maybe. We'll see. Wow, look at that. We got an arena. Be the best player in the room. MTG Arena. Wow. Nice. Island. And there is the Red Sun's Twilight. So now we have green and red for sure. Red says destroy up to X target artifacts, which is 2 reds and X. If X is 5 or more, for each artifact destroyed this way, create a token of a copy of it. These tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So, yeah, it just depends on what you're getting rid of. So if you want to get rid of, a passive thing on the field like legendary artifact, the Filigree Silex, you can get your own. Or Annex Sentry. This is an artifact creature. Technically would work with Red Sun Twilight. Not saying you should do that one, but that's fine. Reject the imperfection. Counter target spell. If that spell's value is 3 or less, proliferate. So not only are you countering creatures and spells, you now can proliferate off of your counters. Just stop that. Dross Pit. So now we have the Sphere for Swamp. Another counter. Bring the endings. Stop it. Phyrexian Atlas. I do like that. It's basically your another stone, mana stone, mana rock. The only difference is for Phyrexian Atlas, every time you tap it to add 1 mana of color, if Corrupted is activated, which is each opponent or a person has 3 or more poison counters on them, they lose a life while you're gaining a mana of any color. That's a good bonus. Also, since the new concept is toxic, I'm trying to figure out, and I'm sure I'll figure this out later on, is can you increase toxic? Like, I know if a creature has like Annihilate or something like that, it doesn't change. But if something were to give something Toxic 1, does that stack on top of Toxic 1, so you can Toxic 2, or it just has Toxic 1 twice and gain a second trigger, or does it just become passive and it just doesn't do anything, it just gives it another flavor of another Toxic. Start off with another Arena token. Wow. Plains. And we've got an alt art, I think this is a showcase. Thrune Breaker of Silence. I don't think that's the one we were looking for, but that looks sweet. Legendary Shaman, 5-drop for a 5/5. Ha! This spell cannot be countered, has trample, cannot be the target of non-green spells your opponents control, or abilities from non-green sources your opponents control. As long as it's my turn, Thrune is indestructible. That is a beautiful card. I would actually highly recommend that card. It's a little bit expensive, but in green, I think you'll be just fine. That's also a good idea. Does Double Strike cause Toxic 1 to trigger twice? Think about it. I think it does. If it's not blocked, and it attacks 2 times, that's 2 separate instances of damage. I'm assuming that would be 2 counters of poison. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely going to see this very often in the next upcoming. Is going to be Scheming Aspirant. Aspirant, sorry. 2, 1 colorless, 1 black. It's a 1/3. Whenever you proliferate, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. I can see this card going the distance. That's going to be a card that is going to be annoying. And you're going to end up having to waste like some kind of removal spell on such a low level card. But it's just those ones that nip at your heels that basically makes you waste a murder. Maybe even counter. I wouldn't counter a card. But I mean, turn 2, drop 1/3. Whenever you proliferate, you're gaining health. That's nasty. Just think about it. You can just pop it with like Offer of Immortality, so you're just constantly protecting it, and people are going to try to get rid of it. And 2 costs, nasty. Mountain. Okay, holographic evolved Spinoderm. Enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters, so it's 4 cost, 5/5. He has trample as long as it has 2 or fewer oil counters on it. Otherwise, it has hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from it. Then, if it has no counters on it, sacrifice it. So, not too bad. You could do Offer of Immortality to give it indestructible death touch for the turn, make him even more devastating. Otherwise, you can just keep proliferating it, and it's just, that will be a nasty card in general. Expand the Sphere. Look at the top 6 cards of your library, put up 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tab, and rest bottom library in any order. If you put fewer than 2 lands onto the battlefield this way, proliferate a number of times equal to the difference. Oh my god. So Expand the Sphere, you can actually pull any lands. It does not have to be basic. That's actually a fantastic card. 4 green, 4 cost, look at the top 6 cards, pull 2 lands from it, put them onto the battlefield. I believe tapped. Yes. But if you do not, you proliferate depending on how many cards you put on the field. So if you put 2 on there, you proliferate none. If you only put 1, you proliferate 1. If out of the 6 cards, none of those are lands, you proliferate 2 times. That could be detrimental to your cause, of course. Oops. Alright, nothing that stands out besides that. Expand the Sphere, that looks pretty good. Alright, we're down about halfway through, and I'd say we got some pretty good cards here. I don't know about the total value, but I don't know if those values are coming out if we're selling pre-orders. But we will see. But all I can say is safely that we got Atraxa and Elish Norn. We're now just going to be looking for that Ichor Moon Gauntlet primarily, and a sword. Those 2 are the last 2 I'm looking for in this. Ooh, that is a very, very nice looking island there. Phyrexian Island. We got another evolved Spinoderm, but not holographic this time. Tovar Stand. So I'm assuming Tovar the Planeswalker might be showing. Now, of course, I don't ever like to look at the spoilers because I don't want to be, disappointed on what I couldn't have got. That's why I'm actually surprised I got the Phyrexian Obliterator, because I didn't even know he'd be here. Like, something in my back of my mind was like, yeah, it's Phyrexian, so he's probably going to show up. But didn't think that was going to happen. Another arena. Nice. Plains. Okay, here's a Blade. Not the Forge and Frontier, but Blade of Shard Souls. For Mirrodin. Whenever it becomes attached to a creature, as long as Blade of Shared Souls remains attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature I control. So that's pretty cool. The equipped creature becomes a copy of some other thing. So, you know, your 1/1 creature can become a secondary Phyrexian Obliterator. That would be nasty. Let's see, more Toxic and Menaces. I'm thinking for Mirrodin is going to be an ability that they're going to try to dominate with. Now, the only really big question I think I have right now is going to be our spheres for the land. It's going to be something. Are we going to make sphere decks? What we're going to do is kind of like what they did back in the old Mirrodin, is like if you had a cloud land type, it would gain bonuses for every cloud type. Something like that. Phyrexian Golem token, nice. Forest. And here's our second Planeswalker, Koth, Fire of Resistance. 4 cost, 4 loyalties. Is +2 search your library for a basic mountain card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Not bad. If you can look for a mountain, get it out of the deck. His -3 is it deals damage to target creature equal to the number of mountains you control. Very nice. And his -7 is whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, the emblem will deal 4 damage to any target. So if you can put that with a deck that can pull multiple lands and do landfall, Koth is your guy. Going straight into the Jace sleeve. Okay, 2 Planeswalkers, not too bad. We're still looking for the other things. Zealot's Conviction, very nice. And that same rat that I was talking about before, alt art. I think the alt art looks absolutely fantastic. And that's the Blightbelly rat, Toxic 1. When it dies, you proliferate. So imagine that with, you know, any of those proliferation type abilities and counters. It's not good. Actually, you could do, you know, green black, and you could do like a rudimentary kind of deck. Is you could do like Blightbelly rats that do proliferation with evolved Spinoderm. So as long as it has more than 4 counters on it, I believe, or more than 2, it should have hexproof, and it's a 5/5. Something like that. Like there's a lot of things you could do with that Blightbelly rat. Just give your opponent a headache. I don't foretell it being anything, you know, great, but you never know. As a startup deck or just a fun deck, it may not be too bad. We have Phyrexian Beast token, Swamp, and we've got a holographic Azuri, Stalker of the Spheres. Now, I have not seen Azuri for a long time, since the older Mirrodins. I think I still have Azuri somewhere in some of my binders. Holographic, 4 cost, 3/3. When Azuri, Stalker of the Sphere, enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate 2 times. Then a passive skill is whenever you proliferate, draw a card. So his ETB is you pay 3, proliferate twice, and for every proliferation you draw a card. So 4 costs will draw 2, proliferate, and give you a pretty sweet passive skill. Not bad at all. Holographic. Another counter, nice. Now we have the Fair Basilica, which is the sacrifice the white land there for draw a card. Not too bad. Oh, so there's Vraska's Fall. So I'm thinking maybe Vraska is gonna, Vraska is gonna show up somewhere in here. And that is a story on this card here. All of that is text. Enters the battlefield, look top 4 cards, reveal land, put it into your hand. If you did not put a card into the battlefield, proliferate. So it looks like green is pulling a lot of scry power with the ability of putting a land onto battlefield, and if you do not get that primary, you get the ability to put a proliferate. And with Azuri on the field, every proliferate means an extra draw. It means an extra chance of getting that card you're looking for. Oops. Alright, so another artifact creature token, planes. We've got a holographic Molten Rebuke. Choose one or both, deal 5 damage to target creature planeswalker, or destroy any equipment for 5 cost. A little high cost, but not too bad. Another evolved Spinoderm. Cinderclash Ravager. Not bad. It's a 6 cost 5/5, but it costs 1 less for each permanent you control with an oil counter, with Vigilance. As it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent control. That's not bad. Goblin Chain Whirler, basically, but you know, a little more expensive, but still not too bad. I wouldn't go crazy with that, or you know, put too many copies of it in a deck. Might be a little too expensive. Another alt art of the Belly Rat, not bad. Might just have to make a binder for all the alt arts for just the Belly Rats. There's too many of those guys around. Alright, we are down to probably the last, looks like there's like 10 packs left, so we've got 2 of the cards we were looking for. 3, technically. So, one of the dual lands, Atraxa Grand Unifier, and Elish Norn. Let's see if we can get anything else. Artifact token, island, and there we go. That is Black Sun Twilight. So now we have black, red, and green. Basically the Zeniths, but this is now Twilight. Black Sun is going to be 1 black X. Up to 1 target creature gets -X until end of turn. If X is 5 is more, return a creature card with a mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So that's like Betrayal of the Graveyard, just in a Black Sun version. Not too bad. Oh my gosh, this is nasty. Noxious Assault, 2 greens, 3 colorless. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. You throw that down there and you put a lot of creatures with Toxic, you're going to have a pretty quick game over, even if the damage does not go through. It's a double whammy. Noxious Assault, highly recommended. That is a good go home type of card, because you are going to knock this one out of the ballpark. Nothing exactly to write home about on that one, except for the Noxious Assault. That one definitely would make me second guess small decks, like little overrun decks. Not great for you if you are fighting small decks and they're running Noxious Assaults left and right. And only for 5 in green. Not too bad. Alright, we got the token artifact creature. Another Phyrexian Plains. Looks sweet. Archfiend of the Dross. 4 cost 6/6. Looks badass right off the bat. Reminds me of the Destiny 2 raid boss. Sorry, not Destiny 2, Destiny 1 raid boss. If you can see him. I don't remember his name, but you remember the ones we all did that raid for the longest time. He's a 6/6 flying, enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters. There's more of that. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter. Then if it has no oil counters, you lose the game. Oh my god, so you need a lot of proliferation to keep this creature alive. Whenever a creature an opponent dies, its controller loses 2 life. So it's kind of like that worm. I can't remember the worm's name, but it's I believe it's 4 cost or 6 cost, but ETBs, it does deal 2 damage to each creature your opponent controls, and then your opponent takes 2 life for each creature dies. So this has that passive skill. That's really not too bad for 4 cost, but now you literally have 4 turns to keep this creature alive. Now the other thing is, by technicality, it says when you have no more oil counters, you lose the game. So if it were to be removed by exile or destroyed, would that signify losing the game, even though you had oil counters on it before? Reach out in the comments, see what you think. Otherwise, I'm going to take a look at that regardless, see how that plays out. Affinity for equipment, that's a new one. That'll be nightmare. Affinity for artifact and equipment. It's kind of a double whammy there. Archfiend of the Draw, so I'm going to have to definitely look that up. Because, you know, Magic's all about rules and technicalities. Looks like we're down to our last 7 packs, and we still have a bunch of cards we're looking for. Can't say that I'm unhappy about the pulls so far. Pretty great. Token, basic land, and a legendary Phyrexia Knight, white, black. 4 cost 3/4 battle cry. When this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/0 until end of turn. Reminds me of the slivers with battle cry. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time target creature would deal combat damage to one or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexia Might artifact creature tokens with toxic 1, and this creature cannot block. So basically, at the beginning of combat, you claim one of your creatures can't deal damage. And if it were to deal damage, it negates all the damage and puts that many 1/1s onto the field. So theoretically, you could do Rhea, Ivor, Bane of the Blade Hold, and do Archfiend of the Draw. So that's a 6/6 flying. So you can say it's not going to do damage, but when it does deal damage, I put 6 1/1 Phyrexians with toxic 1. So then you have 3 turns basically to deal 10 damage of poison. So by turn 2, you already have 12, or 2 more turns after that, you would already have 12 1/1 Phyrexian Mites with toxic. So you could theoretically end it by turn 6 if you could do Rhea, which Archfiend draws combination. Drawn and Ichor, -4 till end of turn and proliferate. Nasty. Oh, wizard. Nice. You're a wizard, Harry. Ooh, you draw 2 cards, I lose 2 life. Opponent gets a poison counter. It's all wins for me. And another Blight Belly Rat. I think we can't get away with them. Every time I mention it, another 2 of them pop up, so they basically are acting like rats. They're proliferating. There's a ton of them around. I think each pack has a chance of, not a mythic rare, but a Blight Belly Rat. If you're ever looking to make a rat deck, now's the time to do it. Alright, we got a poison counter. Phyrexian Island. That looks amazing, too. Gotta love that. Alright, we got a holographic Gleeful Demolition. 1 red. Destroy target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens. Not bad in a pinch. Nothing I'd write home to. Kethic Crucible Goliath. Legendary red-black. 4 cost 4/4. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield. And put the rest at the bottom of your library in a random order. Not bad to cycle things through. Against all odds. Okay, but not the one I want. Remember Mirror. Tyrannix Atrocity. Another dinosaur. I guess you can put dinosaurs back into a deck like this as a theme. look at that. We have got a holographic Phyrexian Swamp. That is beautiful looking. Definitely for the binder. And right behind it is Jor Kadeen, first Gold Warden, legendary, white-red, 2 costs, 2/2, with trample. When Jor Kadeen's first Gold Warden attacks, it gets plus XX until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then, if Kadeen's power is 4 or greater, you draw a card. Not bad. Pump creatures up, you get draw out of it. Not bad. Ooh, Prosthetic Injector. 1 cost equipment. Creature gets plus 0/2 and has Toxic. Equipped for 1. Not bad 1 drop. Nahiri's Sacrifice. So maybe Nahiri's in here too? I remember using Nahiri as a as my planeswalker to kind of go crazy with all the equipments. Was it Nahiri Lithomancer, I think what her name was? Never really used her to her full extent, but you know, people, as soon as they saw a planeswalker, they're like, oh, we gotta kill it fast. So never really got to go crazy with Nahiri, but I think she actually did pretty decent with Mirrodin. Phyrexian Horror, Star, Strength and Toughness token. That's going to be interesting. If I can find the creature it belongs to. Hey, there's another Planeswalker. This one looks a little strange. This one's the Eternal Wanderer. Oh, this must be the Wanderer. I remember getting a Planeswalker that just, I never knew what it was. So, 6 cost 5. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. As a passive static effect. That's cool. +1 is exile it to 1 target artifact or creature. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. It's a good way to get someone to stop their attacks. Her 0 is created 2/2 white samurai creature token with double strike. That's nasty. -4 is for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all other creatures that is not chosen this way. So you choose 1, sacrifice the rest. That's her -4. She's a board wipe. Planeswalker, boards wipe. Yikes. We're going to go ahead and put her in the J-Sleeve. Am I doing a dishonor by putting other Planeswalkers in a Jace? You think we should just go in just default sleeves? Nah, I like Jace. Probably one of my favorites. It's funny for some guy who doesn't like counter decks. You have Jace, mill, counter. Eh, whatever. Another dinosaur. Alright, we're down to the last 3 packs. We are looking for Mondrak. All will be one. The Sword of Forge and Frontier. Maybe a dual land somewhere in here. Tavar, Drivnod, and Venerated Rot Priest. We got the other one, but we want the Venerated one. And the one I really want is the Icarmoon Gauntlet. I need that one if I'm going to build any kind of proliferation type of deck. Alright, so we've got a Rebel token, a Phyrexian Forest, and we've got, it's a mythic rare alt art Capricious Hellraiser. It is a 6-drop 4/4. The spell costs 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in the graveyard. Interesting. It also has flying. When Capricious Hellraiser enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land card from amongst them and copy it. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. So, that reminds me of putting it into J-Sleeve. Look at that, that's beautiful. This card reminds me of Atali. Now the Atali I think is 6 cost as well, but this could ultimately be a 3-drop. If you have 3 or more cards in the graveyard, so you use exiles or you burn spells left and right, this could be a pretty nasty game changer. And look at that, there's Distorted Curiosity, which is Jace in the background, of course. This costs 2 less if your opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Ultimately, it's a 1 drop for draw 2. Not bad. We are still looking for the other thing. That's an interesting looking card, but not what I'm looking for. Alt Art Bone Picker Scourge. Cool, but not what I'm looking for. 2 packs left. I would bet my, I don't want to say because I might lose this one, but I would say I'd bet my top dollar we're not going to get anything in these last 2 packs that we are looking for. Good start with a swamp. We've got a legendary creature, Kemba, Ka Enduring. 2 cost, 2/2, 1 colorless, 1 white. Whenever Kemba, Ka Enduring, or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures you control will get +1/+1. You can tap 3 colorless, 2 white to create a 2/2 white cat creature token. Not bad. Nothing to really write home about, but it's a good start for a cat spam deck. Traxxas Skitterfang looks cool. The green sphere. Wonder if there's going to be a sphere type deck. The red sphere, so we got 2 spheres in 1 pack. Alright, down to the last one. I might actually be walking away with my top dollar here. We want Ichor Moon Gauntlets. Come on, Gauntlets. Alright, here we go. Poison counter. Phyrexian Island. Holographic Orthodoxy Enforcer. +2/0 as long as you control 2 or more artifacts, so it could become a 4 cost 4/4 with Vigilance. Nothing to. Wow! Mythic Rare Vraska in Phyrexian language. Not bad at all. Too bad I have no idea what she says. Going in the J sleeve. I'm gonna have to look that up. So that's actually awesome. She has a 0, a -2, and a -9. I'll look that up in just a moment here. And another Expand the Sphere. That's an amazing card. I think, in my opinion, will do very well in multiple different fields. Not the ones we were looking for. Alrighty, let's go to that wonderful Google and figure out what in the heck Vraska says. This is Vraska Betrayal Sting. She is completed, meaning that you can pay the Phyrexian symbol mana for 2 HP or 2 life. If it was played, this place Walker ends with 2 if you play. So basically, any of the completed ones, if you pay the 2 Phyrexian or 2 life for the Phyrexian mana, it comes in with 2 less counters. So instead of 6, it will start off with only 4. Its -0 is you draw a card and you lose a life, then you proliferate. Not bad. -2 is target creature becomes a treasure artifact with tap to sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color, and loses all other card types and abilities. That doesn't say per turn. She literally Gorgons them. You can... target creature becomes a treasure. So you remove Phyrexian Obliterator off the field and it becomes just a treasure token. I'd rather have that. Her -9 is if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. If you have 0, you gain 9. That's great. Now, it's not great late game, but still, holy moly. Nice card. Great, great, great. And people are putting it at like $8 Not too bad. So all in all, let's see what we've got here. Nice amounts of holographic cards. Of the mythic rares, we have Phyrexian Obliterator, Vraska, don't know the name right off the bat anymore, Capricious Hellraiser, not sure if I'm saying that one right. Let me see how many Planeswalkers I got, holy moly. The Eternal Wanderer, Koth, Fire of Resistance, Dark Slick Shores, Staff of Completion, Kaya, Intangible Slayer, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, and Atraxa, the Grand Unifier. I would say that's a pretty great pull. 4 legendary Planeswalkers, 3 mythic rare items on this side with 1 dual land, with 2 more mythic rares on the right side here. That's amazing. It's a good pull. For the cards I'm going to keep, I'm definitely going to keep Atraxa and Elish Norn. Those are the 2 cards I definitely want 100%. Vraska I definitely want to keep because she's just badass in general. And depending on price, I may keep or sell the Phyrexian Obliterator. That is going to be for me to figure that out in the next few days here, which is pretty great. I do like the Staff of Completion. That will go really well with the staff. I think it's called the Staff of Dominaria. I'm not 100% sure. It's either Domination or Dominaria, one of the two. Those 2 staffs together will complete any kind of counter deck with infinite combos and all sorts of stuff. Granted, Staff of Completion is probably going to become banned very, very soon. Or if not banned, limited to certain play styles. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up here today. In the description, I am going to put my eBay account, so if you're looking for any kind of cards, I do sell Magic cards on there and other things as well, and that's going to kind of be updating as we go. If you guys like this, let me know. If you have any questions or any kind of requests, if you want me to open a certain box, let me know. I am definitely willing to open boxes for people and then ship it back out to them. Just let me know. Alright, signing off. See you guys later.